Hey there, I am Lequita Brooks, your social impact speaker and strategist. Welcome to Social Impact Sundays at 6, where we have massive social impact that leads to income. And today we have Dr. Gash for our segment on the social work movement. And Dr. Gash has coined herself as the social work auntie. So I'm going to let her tell you all about that, all the things that she's doing, all of her awesomeness. So welcome, Dr. Gash.
Thank you, Miss Brooks. Thank you so much. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be with you today.
Yeah, so let's get into this. So when you said, I am the social work auntie, tell me more about that.
Yes. So here's the thing, and I was actually speaking with my students about that, and they were like so impressed with my resume. And I have been in social work for 19 years. So if you do some of the math, yes, I am in my 40s. I am in my early 40s, right? And so you think about an auntie, like I have a favorite auntie, and she is everything to me. I can go to her for advice. She could be my mentor. She helps me with life challenges, life's goals. She celebrates my wins. She celebrates my not just losses, but just like my experiences, right? So I don't think anything is a loss. You either win or you learn. And so that's what my goal is now as being a social worker. I've been, like I said, doing this for 19 years. I've done everything from forensic to mental health. I'm a trauma specialist. I have four, six, seven licenses now. I'm board certified. I have a doctorate in social work. So there's pretty much nothing that I have not done when it comes to social work. I also worked in government. I've had my own private practice. I teach, I write, I consult, I coach. So at this point, as an auntie, I am very collaborative in all of my skill sets. And so that's what I'm coming in now to, not just being so much in the forefront or in direct practice, but more or less administrative and behind the scenes so that I can push our future social work students and professionals forward the best way that I can.
Yes, and I absolutely love that. And I'm kind of curious to know, since you've done so much in the social work profession, what was it that kept you going, that kept saying, I'm going to go for my next, I'm going to go for my more? Because sometimes you hear of social workers who feel stuck or stagnant or they don't know what to do. And sometimes they just don't do anything. So, how was it that you were able to just continue to just grow and evolve and expand and become?
So that is a really good question. And you're right. I do see and hear a lot of that. So I am on social media and I'm in, most of the groups for, Black mental health, Black social work, things of that nature. And so it vexes me when I hear I'm tired of social work or I'm bored with social work or I'm leaving social work. We are social workers. Like you will always be a social worker. If you have a degree, you'll always be a social worker. You just might not be practicing. And I am very fortunate that I have great mentors along my way that were able to pour into me. But I also listen and I also solve things and I learn from other people's mistakes and other people's wins as well. I also kept reinventing myself so that I wouldn't become bored. And the great thing about it is that I specifically started out with social work as in a mental health social worker, right? So working with severely mentally ill or at-risk youth, and that alone is not boring. You can get burned out, but it's never a dull moment. And then from going into working with at-risk youth, I started working with adults in the community sector, and then from there I started working with homeless veterans. So I just always kept in mental health or residential, but I just kept changing and not putting barriers on myself, not allowing people to put me in a box and say, well, you only do this and you only do that. Oh, no, ma'am, no, sir. I can do whatever I want to do. And knowing that social workers change the world. We actually run, we are the one stop shop. The only thing that we cannot do really is prescribe medication, which I don't want to prescribe meds anyway. So, as far as that, it's so broad. And that is one of the reasons why I did say that social work chose me because my undergrad was pre law. So, I do have my undergrad in pre law and I do have a master's in criminal justice. And so, working with at risk youth, I was age of 23 and I fell in love with it. And I've been in it ever ever since, as far as social work and social services are concerned. But just realizing that we can do it all. So I can run the VA, I can run the practice, I can be the CEO, I can be the senators, I can write policies, I can do whatever I want to do and not have to worry about now I got to go back to school and now I got to get a degree. For some things you do need to be certified in, but majority of things that we can do, our skills are so transferable. Like how can anybody get bored in social work?
And I love how you say reinvent yourself. So for
Yeah.
that social worker who's already at a good place in their life, they're like, I made good money, I make a difference, but I desire more. What would you say to that social worker who enjoys what they do, but they see something bigger for themselves?
I say go for it. I say do it scared, right? So even with starting a private practice, and I'm going to speak for myself because I don't know everybody's background. So I don't have a background in business. I don't have a background in marketing, human resources, none of that stuff. And so during COVID, I was already working for another private practice, and I heard the Lord say, "You need to start yours." And I was like, "No, I'm good right here." Like you said, like I'm chilling, I'm good. I'm working on my doctorate. I don't got time for that. And I kept hearing again and hearing again. And I was like, Lord, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm not business. I don't know. And he said, do you trust me? And I was like, yeah. Do you? And so what I realized is that when you put it out in the atmosphere, it will come back to you. That the God or whoever your higher being will send the people that you need to do it. So there's a lot of times I did a lot of things scared, but I'm successful now. And so there's that in social work where it's using the same skills that we teach our clients, that we teach our patients every day to push past that, right? Not putting ourselves in this box or allowing people to put us in this box, realizing our potential and realizing that you can do it. And even if you don't do it well, you can always do something else. But the thing about it is we sometimes complain, but we're doing nothing to change it. So faith without works is dead. So you have to put yourself out there. You have to at least try. I would also say connect with other individuals such as yourself who's out here, who's doing some of the things that you're interested in. Talk with them, see what roads and paths they did to get to where they are, and see if this is something that you're interested in doing. But I will also say that if it keeps coming up, then you're probably supposed to do it. So not one of those fleeting thoughts like, oh, I should write a book, and then it doesn't come up for another maybe 10 years. Maybe you can write it, but if it's something that's burning on the inside, that it's a desire that I really, really want to do it, then you probably really, really, really should do it. And I heard one thing about a month ago. It said that somebody is waiting on you, like somebody's blessing, somebody's breakthrough, somebody's encouragement is waiting for you. And the more that you sit on what has been given to you, the longer that you cause somebody to suffer. And so I took that to heart, like, okay, I need to start talking more. I need to be out more. I need to be visible more, because there's somebody out there that's specifically waiting for me to say something to allow them to break through, to come through, to reinvent themselves, to empower themselves, to strengthen themselves. Also looking at what is your life's mission. We should have that, just like a business, just like treatment plans that we do. What is your treatment plan for your life? What is your life's vision? What is your life's goals? So for me personally, my goal in life is to empower, inspire, and encourage. No matter what I do, I don't care if I'm at Walmart, I don't care if I'm at the car wash, if we at Mexico, we turned up, it doesn't matter. Every day I'm looking somewhere, somehow to empower, encourage, and inspire. So if something comes along my path and it doesn't meet those three, then I automatically know it's not for me. Because everything in my life has to fit into the mission of what I am trying to do and what I'm trying to accomplish.
That is powerful. Okay, like you said, a mouthful, having a life vision, a life mission. And when you have that thing that keeps tugging at you and tugging at you and tugging at you, it's trying to get your attention for a reason.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. I'm just like I'm at a loss for words, because I'm just like, this everything you've said is just so inspirational, so encouraging, and you have really honed in on these are the three elements of who I am, what I do, and why I'm here on
Yes.
this. So for someone who is like you, who have so many different skill sets, multifaceted, so many different areas, from mental health to forensic. You mentioned doing pre-law is in undergrad. You have a private practice. You've talked about doing CBT. You've talked about trauma. So sometimes when social workers have so many things they're doing, they just get so lost and they have decision fatigue. So they never decide on anything and they just continue to sit on all the things. So what would you say to them?
So here's the thing that I personally do. I have what I call like a vision plan. And I went to the Dollar Tree and I write everything that I want to do and I put them in categories. So it's if I'm doing, for instance, therapy, okay, so how can I put all of that together over here? Okay, so if I'm teaching, then how can I put that all into teaching workshops, conferences, things of that nature? If I'm doing community stuff, how does all of that fit? So again, it's the same skills that we are teaching our clients. You got to be organized. You got to put those thoughts down on paper, and so that you can go back and you can rehearse some things. You can take some things out. You can scratch some things off. I also make lists. I have myself accountable. I have a planner because you're right. It's a lot of stuff, but really, I'm doing is transferring from one to the next to the next to the next. So if I'm, at the VA and I'm doing therapy, I'm also doing therapy at the private practice. Coaching and therapy is similar, right? So I'm using those same skills. It just depends on what do you want to do, and I think it all goes back to your mission and to your vision of where you see yourself. So, even in 3 years, you asked me before, like, where do I see myself? I see myself retired. I see myself growing my practice. I see myself doing that. Okay, so what are you doing now that's going to prepare you for what you want your life to look like in 3 years? I think that's one of the things with our gifts that we have and our skills and our abilities is, yes, you have acquired all these things, but now what, right? I saw a post that a young lady said, I have my LCSW and now what? And I was like, what you mean now what? It's like whatever you want to do. But those are things, as we're attaining things, we should still have a purpose and a goal. So for me to become EMDR trained, my goal is to be a trainer. So now I know the steps. I got to go through EMDR, then I had to become certified. Now I got to become a consultant. And then I'll be able to become a trainer. It's the same thing with our gifts. And also not just sitting on your gifts. So you're collecting all these things for what was the purpose of doing all of that? I'm assuming it is to empower. I don't like the word help because I feel like we didn't spend all these years to help people. You can volunteer to help people. I come to empower. I want to strengthen. I want to break down these systems. I want to talk about social injustices and things of that nature. This is why I went to school. I became licensed. I'm talking. I'm in the field. I'm doing the things that I'm doing. And so that is, again, asking that social worker, okay, so if you acquired all of this to do what? Right? So if I got a doctorate and I want to teach and I'm not teaching, what's happening here? What is the barriers? What is holding you back? And a lot of times it is us that is holding us back. It's us second guessing ourselves. It's us getting caught up in that lane of, well, I don't talk like she talks, or I don't do what she does, or I don't say it how he says it. That is fine. Whoever your audience is, that's who your audience is for. And not allowing ourselves to, one, become complacent, and not allowing ourselves to get in that trap of comparison, because then you'll always stay stuck. Somebody always is going to be able to talk more eloquently than you, or their approaches may be different, but that's fine. That's their lane. I have learned to stay in my lane, because when I stay in my lane, I don't crash. I'm not focused on anybody else. I'm focused on what is ahead of me. And as long as I stay what's ahead of me, nothing beside me is going to bother me.
Stay in your lane.
Yes.
Because then when you're in your lane, you know exactly what you should be doing versus you're trying to be in the left lane or the right lane. No, you're in your lane.
In my
so
lane.
No second guessing, or it's no doubting, or it's no, well, what if this or what about that? No, when you're in your lane.
Yes. Absolutely. I think also to add to that is, like you said, many of us have so many skills. I would say also starting out, what comes easiest to you? I think sometimes we put more pressure on ourselves that is needed. And we feel like we should be doing all these grand things because, again, we see everybody else on social media and I want to be an influencer and I got to do content and I got to do this. No, you don't. You can just stay, learn to perfect the one thing that you know that you are amazing at. Once you're able to do that and you're comfortable, all these other opportunities will come to you. But I think so many of us get caught up with everybody else, again, is doing. And then that's where we get like, oh, I'm tired. You might be doing too much. just slow down and kind of critique whatever you have in your basket and work on your basket. And then we can start adding some more things, and or maybe some of those things in our basket are no longer useful, and take some of those things out of the basket. But it also starts with just some self-reflection. Again, I'm going to go back to having your life vision, your goals. What do you see yourself doing? What is your purpose in life every day? And I think, again, once you figure that out, it'll be easier to stay in your lane, because again, I can't see the nice Mercedes beside me and I can see the Range Rover beside me, but I'm gonna be good with my truck. I'm gonna stay in my truck because I don't know what it took for them to get that. And so that just sometimes we get envious of others, but you don't know the struggles they got, where they got to get to where they are. So I am appreciative and I can admire from afar, but doesn't mean that I'm supposed to be there either. I'm supposed to do those things that other people are doing. And that just comes again with self-confidence. It does come with practice. It comes with positive self-talk. So again, it's just being awareness and a mindfulness of where I am, and knowing that our seasons change. A lot of times we know that we're supposed to shift and we don't. And then that's where we become complacent. That's where we become frustrated, because you know you're supposed to be moving, but you're still sitting at the light. And then you're seeing people that was behind you passing you up, and you're like, what is happening? It's because you're not moving, and you're moving this way, but you're not going forward. So I am here to encourage someone today. I don't know where this is coming from, but we're going to go with that. Where I'm encouraging somebody today, if you are feeling the push and the shift, go do it. Do it scared. We are here. We social workers unite. We will be here to support you. There's so many of us out here that you cannot fail. It's impossible for you to fail. But again, if that is something that you want to do, take the leap, go forward. And I guarantee within a year, you will not be disappointed.
Listen, listen. The social work auntie.
Yes, sir.
Okay. She has preached. She has given a word. You hear?
Thank you so much, sis.
Where can they find the social work auntie at?
I am on most social media. So I am at Dr. Kenyuatia L, Gash, LCSW. So I am on LinkedIn. I am on Instagram. I am also on Facebook. My website, www.klgash.com, or the practice, www.klgashassociates.com. You can also reach me at info@klgash.com for any questions you may have. So yes, I do mentoring. Yes, I do coaching. Not so much of therapy too much, because I'm shifting out of some things. So I do speaking, trainings, webinars, and I am so looking forward to 2024. So you can see more of me out here as Dr. Gash, the social work auntie.
All right, Dr. Gash. Well, I thank you so much for joining us today on Social Impact Sundays at 6. I am Lequita Brooks, your social impact speaker and strategist for speaking engagements. Book me at booklequita.com. Until next time, have an amazing day.